Baseball is back, and the videos are coming right back with it. Chris Bassitt is headed to the New York Mets. That's going to start a complete return of content. Going to be a crazy spring, crazy summer, crazy fall, and it all kicks off with this video. This is the official return. I kept wanting to return to making some videos throughout the lockout, but there was just a lack of good video ideas, so that prevented me from doing so. But we have Chris Bassitt trade to talk about. But that's just one of 8 things, some minor, some major, to talk about in this video, because that's how much has transpired since baseball's return from lockout a couple of days ago. So let's go over the Bassitt trade right now to start things off. Bassitt's a 33-year-old starting pitcher. He was an all-star in 2021, okay? He started 27 games. He had a 3.15 ERA, a 3.34 FIP, a 3.9 WAR. Bassitt unfortunately took a ball to the head in August. He would not return until late September, but he was able to return. That just cut his season about 6 starts short of what it would have been. But overall, besides that, no health issues in 2021. As a whole, this idea of Bassitt being good is not just a 2021 thing. This dude is legit. From 2018 to 2020, with Oakland, he's pitched 50 games, 43 starts, a 3.29 ERA. So this dude really, what Bassitt does to me is replace Marcus Stroman quite directly in that New York Mets rotation. They have the star-studded front with DeGrom and Scherzer, but with Syndergaard completely out of the picture and then Stroman out of the picture, the depth wasn't quite what it was. Matt's obviously gone, but now with Bassitt, the depth is not really a concern anymore. New York's rotation ranked, assuming I'm not forgetting anyone, another stud, but what I believe it is: 1, DeGrom, 2, Scherzer, 3, Bassitt, 4, Taijuan Walker, 5, David Peterson. Just correct me if I'm forgetting anybody, but out of those 5, that's definitely my ranking of them. Bassitt was a little bit of a late bloomer in the MLB. His first real season was with the A's in 2015 at 26 years old. He was 1-8, but with a 3.56 ERA. So him posting a good ERA a long time ago was a thing, but 1-8, I don't know. But 2018, his career as a starting pitcher in Oakland really kicked off, and he's been good for quite some time now. So what are the Oakland A's getting in return for Bassitt? That would be the Mets pitching prospect, number 5 overall prospect, JT Ginn. He's 22 years old, almost 23. He hasn't been in the big leagues yet. So, if you haven't been in the big leagues at that point, you're not this massive prospect. But, Oakland could have some hope with him. And why isn't more going to Oakland? Well, that's because Bassitt is a free agent after the 2022 season. The Mets will be paying him $8.8 million in 2022, but after that, he's an unrestricted FA. What do I think? I think that I definitely like the deal for the New York Mets, Oakland, well, considering that they're tearing it apart, what is there to lose trading a guy who's a free agent after the year? But I don't like the fact that they're tearing it apart to begin with for Oakland. But for the Mets, definitely a nice, very nice addition to that starting rotation. Before this trade or anything like that, I had the Mets as my number 2 team in baseball. You can check my Instagram. And at this point, I'm really starting to feel I know it's not actually this above 50% chance of happening type of thing, but it really feels that way. Mets, Dodgers, NLCS, those 2 teams have got to face off in the playoffs because they've always kind of had a rivalry, Mets-Dodgers, but now those are the best 2 teams in the National League, and really it's not that close right now. Of course, Freeman going back to Atlanta would immediately change that statement. The Braves would be right there with them. On to the other stuff, a bunch of other stuff. That was the main thing I was going to be talking about, but we have 7 other little things to talk about. I wanted to talk about Carlos Correa because he hasn't signed. It was last night. There was a report that came out from some dude who I believe works for ESPN. He said that the Cubs and Yankees are the teams that have shown the most interest in Carlos Correa. That was before the Cubs traded for shortstop Andrelton Simmons right after. So, I know that Andrelton Simmons, not a huge thing. They could just, kind of use him a little more versatilely, maybe not as your main guy. So, you don't know for sure that the Cubs are just completely backing down from Correa. But I feel at this point, it's likely that the New York Yankees sign Carlos Correa. And what do I think about this as a Yankee fan? There's all that debate out there. I will say that back in November, I was against signing Carlos Correa. I thought that Corey Seager was the guy I wanted. So pretty much immediately when the Rangers got Seager, my opinion on Correa kind of changed. Because Seager, really good. In my opinion, it's underrated how close of a talent he is to Correa. and quite equal with the short porch and right at Yankee Stadium. I think Seager would be an amazing fit, but he went to Texas, and I had to be like, okay, it's going to cause up some stir. Yankees are going to become even more hated, but you know what? They have got to make a bold franchise move. It's been pretty stagnant, not getting to where they wanted to with an elite team the past few years. This is their time. They got to get the best shortstop in baseball, get a villain, go all in. New York Yankees could compete for a World Series that way. But if you don't, I don't know. What do I think about Story? It's like, okay, there's some potential with that, but I think it's just a little bit more of a bummy move than signing Carlos Correa. I would say that there's a better than 50% chance that Carlos Correa goes to the New York Yankees. Something that just went down, Joe Kelly, the reliever, went to the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox back end of the bullpen is insane. So for Kelly, he posted a 2.86 ERA in his second year with the Dodgers last year. So after a couple years in LA, he's headed to the north side of Chicago, the south side of Chicago. The White Sox back end of the bullpen is insane. Hear me out. They have Craig Kimbrell, which, he was not good in the second half last year, so you might put a pause on that one, but there's a lot of potential there. But more of locks to be really good. Aaron Bummer, underrated, not a big name, but he's been really good. Kendall Graveman, we got the whole reason, my channel completely went crazy for a couple of days with that Kendall Graveman video when the Mariners traded him to Houston because he had an 0.82 ERA at the end of July last year. Kendall Graveman should be really good for the White Sox. So Kendall Graveman, Craig Kimbrell, Aaron Bummer, Liam Hendricks, the best closer in baseball probably, and now Joe Kelly. That's the... Oh, shoot. Do they have Michael Kopech still? Either way, the Chicago White Sox back end of the bullpen is just absurd. The White Sox were already my number one team ranked in the American League. I'm kind of sure of that. I might have put the Rays just above them, but I'm pretty sure I had the White Sox as the best team in the American League, especially now with Kelly. That's currently my pick to win the American League, but if Carlos Correa goes to the Yankees, that could shift for sure. Or if Carlos Correa decides to run it back with Houston, that also could leave the Astros as favorites. The White Sox, extremely serious contenders, and I wouldn't be surprised if the American League is just owned by them from the start. One seed, go to the World Series. I wouldn't be that surprised. The Blue Jays acquired starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi, so their thing with being a non-starting pitcher team is kind of gone now. Kikuchi's alright, he's okay. I think that he's a bad matchup in that division facing the Red Sox and Yankee lineups, but, he's okay for some stability. But they have, Gausman as well, so don't sleep on that Toronto rotation. The first post-lockout move was San Francisco signing starting pitcher Carlos Rodon to a 2-year, $44 million deal. That's a good value move for the Giants, in my opinion. $22 million a year for someone who had a 2.37 ERA last year with the White Sox, and he's going out to an even bigger ballpark now in San Francisco. That's huge. The Giants obviously 107-55 last year, yet they have the 13th best World Series odds this year so far, and I agree with that. I ranked them, I believe, right at 13 in my team rankings at the lockout. So the Giants want to remain really competitive now to get either that 4, 5, or 6 seed. I can't see them winning that division again. But Rodon, very good. That is going to be a really big 3 at the top of that NL West with Dodgers, Giants, Padres. Just because San Diego collapsed last year doesn't mean I don't think that they're going to be good and still have their era. I think the Padres era still lies ahead of us. They're going to be good for a lot of years, and I think that kicks off this year. Remember, Mike Clevenger is on that team. He comes back this year. The Dodgers re-signed Clayton Kershaw to a 1-year contract, which is a bit interesting. We'll see what he does this year. At least one more year for Kersh in LA. I feel like it's most likely that he becomes a lifelong Dodger. The Rangers signed starting pitcher Martin Perez. He's mid at best, but that's where he spent the first 7 years of his career. One more thing to talk about, the Texas Rangers and Minnesota Twins had a trade yesterday. So going to Minnesota is the shortstop Isaiah Connor Falefa. So he replaces a great defensive shortstop in Andrelton Simmons from Minnesota, and he is also a light bat but an amazing defender at shortstop, Connor Falefa. He does not have much power whatsoever. He has decent average, but he doesn't have great on-base skills either. But what goes to Texas intrigues me. I know that's a big ballpark out there, but it's catcher Mitch Garver. Garver, remember, didn't play that much last year. Struggled when he did, but 2019, heart of that Bomba squad. 31 home runs in 102 games. So there's serious power potential for Mitch Garver. We're going to continue to talk about the MLB post-lockout now. You'll love to say that. Deals and season predictions are right around the corner. So leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We're going to pop off a lot throughout the season and before the season right now with baseball content. Thank you for watching.